athletes, now it's time to talk about your back. Taking care of some of those achy pains, achy muscles, whatever. So, if a chiropractor isn't going to just violently push on your back, we shouldn't either, okay? So, try your best not to put too much direct pressure on your spine. Now, we will do a little bit of this just to do some stretching for our thoracic spine so that we can get a little bit more motion through the middles of our back and a little bit for our sacrums, our lower part of our back. But again, that's for general stretching and we're not doing anything too violent as we go. So what I want you to think about is try to favor your whole right side before you do your whole left side. Again, do not put too much direct pressure on your back. Now, we're actually going to start in our elbow and work through our tricep because it's going to make it really easy to transition through the back of our shoulder into our spine. So, you would do your tricep, maybe you have a little pain, maybe we've got some elbow issues going on, whatever, okay? Especially if you've got some elbow, that's probably your tricep that's burning you, okay? So, let's move on into our tricep. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put the foam roller just above my elbow, right? So my elbow can still bend, and then I like to just lay my head on my arm. So just like with all of our other foam rolling, we want to go slow, we want to go get as much of the muscle as we possibly can, and when we find a spot, that's where we sit, okay? We can bend our arm, we can straighten it. Again, we're trying to find new angles, find new spots on our body, and again, as I go, I'm going to keep going up towards my armpit. I'm going nice and slow, trying to find those spots. And again, I'm going really quickly because again, I'm just trying to show you how to do this. This isn't how fast you're going to want to go. But once you get the foam roller right into that crease of your arm, from when your arm starts to go into your back, that's where we're going to want to spend a little bit of time. So I'm going to lay back, I'm going to pull my arm in and try to get really far into it, going nice and slow. I might even try to put my hand on the floor, open it up, do some external rotation. I'll look away. Now, in other videos, we've talked about your traps from about the middle of your shoulder blade through your neck, right, to foam roll your neck if you have neck pain. So we're going to kind of skip that because we've already talked about it, but you could certainly hit it at this point. And again, I'm going to put the foam roller just on the right side of my body, and I'm going to go nice and easy. I'll rock side to side to get all of the muscle of my back. I'm lining my shoulder blade, going nice and slow all the way down. Again, I'm not trying to put direct pressure on my spine, just because I'm doing big ranges of motion. As I get closer to my lower back, I'll lay my head on the floor, and again, as I get really low, I'm going to start rocking side to side. I do not want to be putting direct pressure on my spine. And once I get into my hips, perfect time for you to work your butt if you haven't already. Now, as I was saying before, we can use a foam roller to promote general stretching. But again, if we're going to sit on a spot, you can't violently move. So, 2 places we can use this foam roller to help our backs. First place is by putting it right across your butt, okay? By putting it right across your butt, what we're doing is we're taking the lowest part of your spine, your sacrum, and we're lightly extending it. Again, we're not trying to force new ranges of motion, we're just trying to alleviate some pressure, okay? If you have some back pain, by putting that pressure forward, it's going to stretch our hip flexor slightly, and again, it's going to open up our hips, relieving some of our back pain if we have it. So, just nice and light, very short durations. I don't want to go too long. But again, I'm going to put it right across my glutes. And I might even open up my hips even more by crossing my legs like this. And again, my hips are being opened as the foam roller pushes on them. And I'm going to get a nice release. Now, again, if you're very careful and you're not very violent, you can turn the foam roller like I did, where it's in line with my spine. This will allow my hips to open up a little bit further because again, your right hip and your left hip can work independently of one another, right? When you run, one leg goes forward as the other one comes back, so your hips can move. So by making it go vertically like this, it'll allow my hips to open up and separate from one another, And again, this creates a lot of stretch in here. Try not to move. If you need to get up, careful, slowly lift your hips up, move the roller. Again, nothing violent, okay? If you feel discomfort, don't do this, right? Now, the second place we can put this foam roller is right in the middle of our backs. So again, just like your sacrum, our mid-back rounds like this. So if we want to help extend our body, if maybe we're having issues getting ourselves into a good posture, maybe our collarbone's down, our shoulders are slumping forward, this is a great way to help open some things up. And again, another way to open some things up, take care of your pecs, take care of your chest. That way you're not tight, it can open up. But again, we're working on our backs. I'll put it right in the middle of my back. For a while, I'll put my hands behind my head, trying to get my elbows to the ground. And I'm just gonna let myself kind of fall over it and see if I can get my head to touch the ground while my butt is on the ground. And again, for a lot of people, this is very uncomfortable. We don't want to move very violently because, again, it's direct pressure on our spine. Just be really careful when you're doing this. And again, we're trying to promote good quality breathing, good opening. That way our spine can be healthy. Now, the back of your shoulder. Let's advance this a little bit. So we did as much as we could, big, large muscles with our foam roller. So by taking a ball, and now this is a lacrosse ball, I always recommend something softer than this, especially when you're first starting out, using like a racket ball or maybe even a tennis ball. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to isolate where my shoulder and my lat kind of come together, and I'm going to kind of work my way in here. It's going to be pretty uncomfortable, especially at first, because you're going to have a lot of tight muscles. So I'm going to slip it under my shoulder. I'm going to get up on my hip. And what I'm trying to do is I want my whole arm to just relax. So by grabbing my elbow and pulling it in, I can totally shut my arm off. And then from here, I can use my body to take care of the muscles that are completely turned off. And you got to kind of get a little squirmy and wormy in order to make this work. But I'm moving my arms. I'm trying to find spots. I'll do some internal, external rotator work, doing whatever I can again, because I'm trying to open some things up, especially if you do a lot of pull-ups, if you do a lot of rows, your lats can get tight, and that can be very uncomfortable. So again, by just working around and getting comfortable using these pieces of equipment, it can really help open you up. So remember, take care of yourself, no direct pressure on your spine. Again, we want to promote quality of movement, not just roll around like a rolling pin.